Well, howdy, folks. How are you? Hope you're having a good day, and welcome to the show for tonight. I've got filthy, dirty glasses again. Let me find my little cloth to clean myself with, and I'll be able to get a bit of an idea of what's what in the house. Tim Dwyer joining us tonight. At least I hope he is. He's not in yet. We did have a bit of a chat earlier this afternoon, and figured out that we could play a PowerPoint presentation for you, which he will take us through to give us a little bit of an understanding about the science behind the patches that I showed you last night. Now, these patches are X39 patches from LifeWave, and I can tell you from my own personal experience, they have been bloody amazing from my own personal experience. Now, the man himself has joined us, so let's say g'day. Good evening. Oh, hang on, I might have to share this first and see what happens. All right, and let me put this up onto, actually, first of all, let me move it so that I can see my screen. Sorry, folks, should have had this set up a little bit better, but for some reason or other, things are moving around in my screen tonight. There you go. That might be easier. Now, let me remove that from there for a minute and put this at that point. Great. There we go. Now, I seem to have got most of my stuff into a line. Let's hope. Fingers crossed. We'll bring Tim up. Try and get it right. How are you, buddy?
Mate, I'm well. And yourself?
All right. I wish I'd have figured this out a little bit earlier. I had another window open and I thought I'd set the PowerPoint up already, but I hadn't. So
there you go. Well, technology, the best laid plans of mice and men do some days go awry.
Don't they just? Tim, thanks for joining us tonight. This was all a little bit unexpected because, A, I don't think you expected me to do what I did last night. No. And B, we've sort of, well, we've talked about this, but we haven't really gone into it into great detail. Last night, I played Carol's videos. A lot of people have contacted me since then to inquire more about these patches. So let me hold that up. That's the size of the patch. That's the size of a 50-cent piece. I'll give you an idea of the size of the patches. So I've been contacted by a lot of people, and I'm going to send you all out 2 of these to try. Very happy to do that and make sure that they work for you. I guess the question that I've been getting most, Tim, is how do they work? Why do they work?
Why do they work?
Yeah.
Well, we'll see why they work in a minute. We've put together a little PowerPoint, but basically it works like this. From about the age of 30, 35, our stem cells, which are they're the blank cells in our body that can turn into a brain cell or a toenail cell. They can go to an ear or an eye or part of your heart or whatever. They're the repair mechanism in our body. The stem cells go in and do all the repair work. Well, from 30 to 35 onwards, they start dying off. Well, not dying off, but being inactive. And the reason they become inactive is because the copper peptides in our blood become less. And it is the copper peptide that triggers the activity of the stem cell. All right. So when like I'm 70, so when you get to my age, there's probably 3 penneth worth of bugger all of them doing anything. And they've all gone on holidays, mate. They're going fishing. And so that's why it takes older people longer to heal and all that sort of stuff. And that's how it works. Now, the patches, Carl, don't put any product into your body. It's not like a nicotine patch where you put a nicotine patch on and the nicotine is absorbed by your body. It's not like that. These are salt and other crystalline nanoparticle type things. They're minute little particles that take the heat out of your body. Now, your heat comes out of your body in infrared, right? So you can see your heat signature with an infrared light. So it takes the infrared signal and reflects it back in the body so as to activate the copper peptide. When the copper peptide is activated, then the stem cells respond. And that's how it works. So the patch itself isn't actually doing any healing. It's switching on bits in your body so as your body can do the healing. Your body is the miracle. It's the machine that does the job. It just needs a trigger, if you like. And as I said, nothing goes into your body, but your heat signature is reflected in a light form back into your body, and away she goes.
So you clearly have been using it yourself. Do you want to explain to people your situation?
Sure. Look, I for probably 2.5 years, I've had a terrible right hip. Now, I put it down to a car crash I had some 30-odd years ago. It was a head-on collision, 240 kilometres an hour to a dead stop, and you get a little bit messed up. And they told me that by the time I was 40, I'd probably need 2 new hips. Well, I haven't had any new hips, and I'm now 70. But my right hip was really giving me curry. I mean, I could not walk around the block. I literally couldn't. And, you know, Corinne and I were then, through my pain, were restricted as to where we go, what we do. And of a night, trying to get sleep was just terrible. You know, I'd maybe get 3 hours sleep a night, just tossing and turning. I couldn't sleep on my hip. I couldn't sleep on the other side because that put drag pressure on my right hip. And it was just a shocker. If I wanted to get a good night's sleep, here was my remedy for a good night's sleep. And I'd do this about once every 10 days. I'd have 2 Panadeine Forte, 2 Panadol, and 2 7-ounce glasses of port. Wait half an hour, go to bed.
Yeah, have a great sleep.
I'd sleep for 5 hours, but then I'd wake up in bloody excruciating pain again. But at least I got some sleep, right? Now, the story goes like this. A friend of mine rang me up and said, Tim, you've got to get onto these patches. And I go, yep. I'm busy. Haven't got time. Well, he rang me back a couple of weeks later. Tim, have you looked at it? No, I haven't looked at that stuff, mate. You've got to look at it. Yeah, I will, right? Finally, I did. And I said to Corinne, I said, well, look, from the testimonies, maybe in time this will take the pain out of my hip. So we ordered the patches. And they turned up on a Friday. And so bedtime comes, and I thought, well, because you wear them 12 hours on, 12 hours off.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd put it on when I went to bed and take it off in the morning. That'll work. So I just whacked the patch on the back of my neck, not expecting anything. I just, okay, we've got to start somewhere. And in doing that, I went to sleep. And I stayed asleep for 8 hours. I mean, I slept for 8 hours. I went to bed at midnight and I woke up at 8 o'clock in the morning. And I stood up out of bed and I thought, holy crap, I don't have any hip pain. I walked out to the kitchen. Corinne was up before me. I walked out into the kitchen, and half the time she gets sick of me tossing and turning. She ends up in the spare bed.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's just how she had to get some sleep. But anyway, I walk out into the kitchen, and normally it's a bit of a hobble for me early in the morning. And I said, I got no pain. And I'd literally forgotten, Carl, how to walk without pain. You know, that's crazy, but that's how it was. And she said, you're kidding. I said, I got no pain. And it was that instant, it was that night. And I have had a bit of a niggle. I was at the the Adelaide 500, whatever they call it these days, car race last weekend. And I walked about 6 kilometres. And by the time I got back to the car, my hip was a bit twingy. It wasn't really sore, but it was saying, hello, I'm here. But that's after 6 kilometres from I couldn't walk around the block.
Yeah,
and
that's
that's carrying
amazing.
back, you know. And so anyway, that was it for me. That morning, I got on and I made a video and I sent it to my mate who sponsored me, and it just blew me away. And when you bump into something like this, it's damn hard to shut your mouth.
Yeah,
It just
yeah,
is.
yeah. Well, I'm not one to sing these sorts of praises of these sorts of products ordinarily. And when you put a patch on me in Adelaide, it fixed my neck and back magnificently within hours, I've got to say. And I'll tell you, folks, I've got a headache and a backache now. This one, in fact, I'll put it on right now. I'll show you how easy it is. Peel it off. I'm going to put it on the back of my neck, and that's it. It's done. So I've got it about the C7 at the back of my neck, and I'll leave it there for overnight. Now, generally, put it on during the day is better than the night, though. That's what your suggestion is, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah, all the tests that they did, all the clinical trials, everything they've done was done during daytime hours. Now, if you want to put it on day or night, I think that's optional, but that's where they did all their tests. That's where all their data comes from and stuff like that.
Yep. So if you want to stick with the baseline, do that. But
yep.
Carol's went on overnight. So
yes.
those of us that watched last night saw Carol's reaction the day after, which I have to say, frankly, was amazing, and just such a joyful experience to be around. And I think people got the essence of that last night by seeing her smile, seeing the way that she spoke about it. There was there was nothing made up about the lack of pain that she was feeling.
No. She was genuinely. Yeah, she was genuinely. Yep. Now, the interesting thing, Carl, I don't know what you're finding, but when I talk to people, I literally, I think I'm bumping into two basic different sets of people. People who, they have a need for it. I mean, we all have a need for it because it doesn't matter whether it's your heart, your liver, your eyes, your ears, doesn't matter what it is, this will work on it. But pain is the most obvious one. But I'm bumping into people who go, well, yeah, that's great, but how much is it? All right. And I go, well, it's not cheap, but I mean, it's not expensive either. And they go, yeah, but what does that mean? And I go, well, okay, it's going to cost you about $5.50 a day, every day. Oh, geez, that's a lot of money. And it is. It is. In today's world, it is a lot of money. However, the way I try and explain it to people is that, we are either going to pay to be well or we're going to suffer the cost of illness. And I don't know if anybody's been off work long term through illness or injury or whatever, but bloody hell, that's expensive.
Yeah.
That is expensive when you can't earn money or when you're put down onto a part payment of your income because you're living on 100% of your income and you get a part payment of it. That's harsh because you're injured or whatever. But I looked at it like this. Now, not most, but a lot of people will come home from work and they'll either have a couple of beers or a couple of glasses of wine or whatever. They've just burnt up $5 right there and then for no real value. And in my case, think about this, on the nights that I would self-medicate to keep me going, that was probably about $15 for that one night's worth of pain relief hours.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and I don't know what a package is worth or anything like that, but look, I look at this and I think my health is worth spending a few bob on in preventative rather than try and repair with pharmaceuticals and chemicals. I'd rather go this way than the other way. That's just me. That's the way I looked at it.
I have a lot of emails in the last 24, 36 hours from people who are suffering chronic pain, and they are using, self-admitting that they are using alcohol to help moderate that pain. Last time I was in a pub, only a few weeks ago, I think I paid over $10 for a schooner. I don't know what a stubby is to buy if you were to go in and just buy a stubby, but I'd be amazed if it cost you less than $6 or $8 or $10. Certainly, I'd be amazed if it cost you less than $6. If a schooner is going to take you over $10, so maybe it's one stubby less a day, or it's one glass of wine less a day, or whatever. But if you can find a way to do it, I think what the problem is, when you break it down to it's only a price of a cup of coffee a day, well, we can always find that $5.50 for the cup of coffee. What we're going to do, though, if you're going to go and buy these patches, you're going to be asked to find the price of your daily cup of coffee all in one hit. And that's where people get a little, I don't know, I'm the same way. Yeah, I'm exactly the same way. It's exactly how I feel, because I don't, I look at my bank account and I say, gee, I've got $312 in my bank account and they want to take this much out of it.
I know. And, look, we won't go into it here, but there is a like a franchise type thing available, or a commission on recommendations, however you want to look at it. That's available down the track, but let's not go there tonight.
No.
Let's look at this from the science.
That's not the reason I'm doing it either. This is simply to try and help people, to get people who are in chronic pain some help. I explained the reason for that last night. I'm not going to cry again tonight. Damn it.
Carl, look, there was an old song many years ago. Whatever good I can do, let me do it now, because I may never pass this way again.
Yeah.
Right? And if we can save human suffering from pain, illness, disease, and tonight we're going to talk about kids with autism, people with dementia, and even other like cataracts and macular degeneration, all sorts of stuff. We're going to show videos on these. And so as that we can understand that this isn't just a pain thing, this is a whole of health technology that is unobtrusive. It's not chemical based in your body. And the way I look at it is, my goal is to reach 100 years of age, and on my 100th birthday, I wish to be arrested for doing burnouts in front of the Adelaide police station. I want to be the oldest hoon ever arrested. So I've got to keep my wits about me. So $5.50 a day, I'm in.
We should, as you've said, we are talking about the pain patches, the X39 patches, but this company has a variety of other patches, including patches for animals, horses particularly. So we're not going to go into that so much tonight, but there is a large range of help. From a personal perspective, I have a friend who is suffering breast cancer at this point in time. Is there any use for these sorts of things in that particular area?
They haven't released the study they did on that, and I've got a funny feeling I know why. In the United Kingdom, the US, and here in Australia, there's legislation that says it's illegal, unlawful to cure cancer.
Wow.
Go figure.
Wow.
Right? You can never claim that it's cured. You can claim that it's gone into remission, perhaps.
Yeah.
But you can never claim that it is cured, because it's against the law.
Right. There you go.
Yeah. So I don't think they're going to release any findings on that. However, how about we start off with the little slideshow we put together?
Certainly.
And we can whistle through that, and then people might want to ask some questions. All right, here's the normal disclaimer. It's not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition, blah, blah, blah. We all know the rest of this story. And it hasn't been tested by, it's not been given the green light by any bodies. But here in Australia, it is registered with the TGA, all right, the Therapeutic Goods Association. So next slide, please, Carl.
Hit the button.
Hit the button. Okay, welcome. Now, this is a website that my friend has put up, x39freedom.net, and this has got an enormous amount of information on science and the testimonies and all that sort of stuff. So Team FSI X39 Revolution, that's on Facebook. So next, move along. Have you been patched yet? Well, yep, some of us have, and the rest of you will.
Yeah.
Carl's going to send you out some patches, and what I'm going to suggest, Carl, because these people that you're going to send the patch to are only going to get 2 patches, even though we're supposed to use them for 12 hours on and 12 hours off, that's when we're going to use them regularly. You're not going to do yourself any damage for these people if they wear the patch for 24 hours a day for those first 2 patches.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But if they decide to purchase the patches for themselves, 12 hours on, 12 hours off. Okay. All right. Next slide, please, Carl. Why X39 stem cell activation patch? The fewer the stem cells you have, the faster you age, the slower you heal. Hundreds of millions of people are experiencing the symptoms of aging. That's just what we do. At 30s, only half your stem cells are active, and at age 60, we've lost almost all of them. All right, next slide, please. How it works. This is the holy grail of anti-aging, copper peptides, GHK. Now, our patches, they're made out of organic nanocrystals. They're formulated to activate your copper peptides in your blood, which reactivates our own stem cells. So we're not putting anybody else's stem cells into our body. This is our body healing us independently. Okay, Carl? The science. Stem cells are cells with potential to develop into many different types of cells in the body, and they serve as a repair system for the body. So these are the mobile mechanics for the body, okay? Everybody suffers from decreasing levels of active stem cells in their body as they age. This is one reason older people don't heal as quickly as children. The solution: X39 patches are patented phototherapy medical devices. They elevate the copper peptide. They activate dormant stem cells to a younger, healthier state. Improvements in energy, sleep, pain reduction, skin appearance. Do you notice, Carl? Look, see that? See how beautiful I'm looking these days?
Baby soft, I've noticed. Baby soft.
Increased libido. I'm not going anywhere near.
I haven't noticed that.
No, well, I'm not saying yes or no. So anyway, moving right on. Reduced inflammation, faster wound healing, and reduced stress and anxiety. And that's a big one.
That surprised me. That was something that Carol mentioned a couple of times in her thing, because we were going out to an open day concert that was happening that day, and she would ordinarily be anxious about going out with her back, and it was raining, wet, cold sort of a day. This alleviated all her anxiety about going out into the crowds and being part of it. She was quite amazed by it.
Yeah.
So was
Next, please. Okay, this is the bloke who came up with it, David Schmidt. Now, he's a CEO, inventor of X39. He's got 130 patents. He's a scientist and inventor and 2-time recipient of the Advanced Technology Award from the International Hall of Fame. Now, this bloke's pretty interesting. His job with the American government in some armed forces end of it, I don't know where, and probably the Navy, because his job was to research ways to help submariners live longer, because apparently when you're in submarines and your body's compressed and all this sort of stuff, it has a very detrimental effect on your health. And it was his job to try and help them live longer, which he succeeded at. So, and then he went out on his own, and the company that he's got going has been running now for over 20 years. And so, yeah, and he's a smart bloke. Next one.
Yeah, great. Oop, hang on, something's going wrong. I'm hitting the wrong button. Doesn't want to talk to me. Hey, there you go.
All right. So if we activate our stem cells, again, rapid pain relief. Now, keep in mind, people, that some people are going to get really quick responses and others aren't going to get a response maybe for a week or two, maybe a month or two, simply because the stem cells will go and work on the parts of your body that need the most support. Now, you might have something going on your liver or your kidneys or somewhere else in your intestines or whatever that you haven't even felt going wrong. You've got this going on, but you haven't felt that. It'll go to where it's needed the most first. Then it'll come back and fix up other stuff. So we go rapid pain relief, reduced inflammation, support wound healing, energy, vitality. That's a big one. Mental clarity, enhances sports performance. So if you've got some elite athletes or something, brilliant for that. And it's magnificent for sports recovery and improved skin appearance. There's a couple of I think they're websites, or it might be YouTube's, I'm not sure, but I've seen a couple of pictures of these ladies who've been on X39 for 3 years since it came out. And you would think the before and the after, you'd see the before, and that's mum, and the after looks like the daughter. 3 years. It is staggering what it does. So they're not frightened to make the claim that this is an actual fact, possibly age reversal. That's a big claim.
I hesitate to say this to you, but I spoke today with a gentleman. I hesitate to say his name. Today I spoke with Charlie Ward. I had a good chat with him, and it wasn't a recorded conversation. This was just a get-to-know-you kind of a chat. And the last time I'd seen Charlie, he wasn't looking terribly well in some of his videos. Today, he looks like a new man. He's very healthy, losing weight, and got a great color about him. His eyes are back to what they should be. And he tells me that, because we discussed the X39 patches, that he's been on them for 2 years.
There you go.
Clearly he did have a bit of a health issue recently, but he swears by them. So does his wife. So I was surprised to learn that, to be honest. But
they're out there.
Yeah.
And they're made, the production facility to make these things are in Ireland.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah. Anyway, moving right along.
The Irish.
Okay, long-term results, first few days. You've got an extra 4,000 genes begin to reset. Within 6 weeks, the brain becomes more balanced and decreased symptoms of PTSD, anxiety, and depression. Within 3 months, your collagen is increased. Now, it's your collagen that's stops all the wrinkles. It gives you good skin, right? Decreased wrinkles, increased hair growth, increases structural integrity of both your skeletal and muscular system. And 6 months, heart reverses in age. In a recent study, 14 out of 15 people lowered their vascular age by an average of 8 years after just 6 months of using X39.
Wow.
It is not an anti-aging, it is an age reversing. Now, we rave on about the pain, but this is what I said at the beginning of this. For $5.50 a day, you can literally almost rebuild yourself. Now, you can buy a stubby in the pub.
Yeah.
You could put your $5.50 towards another packet of smokes, or a bottle of wine, or you could put it towards literally re-establishing the health and the vitality that your body could have. Moving right along here. Next one, please.
Will it help with grey hair? Is a question from the chat.
Well, no. My hair is going back. I was pretty much white.
Yeah.
And I've now got a fair bit of colour coming back in.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, it does. We've been on them now for This is our 4th month. All right. So, yeah, it's doing its thing. Okay. This is brain mapping results. Now, these guys do their stuff. They do the work. I mean, they're not frightened to try all this gear. This was a 77-year-old woman, placed the X39 on the back of her neck. In session 1, before using the X39, her brain was hyperactive. See all the red in there? That's hyperactivity in the brain. That means that she's got a lot of tension going on. She can't maintain a line of thought. She's scattered in her thinking, all that sort of stuff, right? So inflammation in the brain, very little stem cell activity, and lack of brain coherence. So she's a bit muddled, and she's anxious about it and all that sort of stuff, as you would be. Session 2. This was 3 weeks on X39. Her brain had calmed down dramatically after 3 weeks using X39 and remained calmed after wearing the patches for 6 weeks. Right. Now, session 3. Session 3, 6 weeks on X39, complete turnaround and improvement of stem cell activity and better brain coherence. So, yes, we're going to get the benefit of no pain. Yes, we're going to get this benefit, but it's going to help us in here. And it is that all the time. I've had this philosophy for 30-odd years. It is the nature of your thought that alters everything. And if your thoughts are a bit like session 1 there, they're muddled and confused and all that sort of stuff, you're going to live a life in chaos that goes around and around in an ever-decreasing circle. Whereas if we can get our thoughts in order, get our brain calmed down and get back to logical, cohesive thought, we can do whatever we like. It's brilliant. I love this. You know, I'll talk to you about some other stuff I've decided to do with the hydrogen, but not here. We'll talk about it another day.
Yep,
right,
absolutely.
Next one, please.
Next one. Oh, God, I'll keep moving my mouse and I'm losing track of where I am. 1 second. Here we go. Bang, bang.
Okay. Here we go. Lifeways was established more than 20 years ago. It's now operating seamlessly in over 70 countries. So we can share this with people all over the world. Like Charlie's in Spain. So clearly it's available in Spain. And I know it's available in Spain because I've got a mate over there who's just about to register. Anyway, massive momentum is now occurring since the introduction of X39 patches in 2018. Now, here's where it's taken off. It's now doing over $300 million in sales. And the guy who runs the company, he could see this coming. So what he's now done is he's already put in place in his manufacturing facility the capacity to produce enough patches to run $1.5 billion in turnover per year.
Wow.
So he's already structured the thing for all this growth. So, yeah. And if any, again, go on,
20 years they've been doing this. You've got to think that a large portion of that has been in the research and development phase.
No, they've done all the research and development prior to 20 years. And they opened the company for sales 20 years ago. Now, what's happening is their other patches that they've got are specific for specific things, right? X39 is a bit like the Holy Grail. This one does it all, right? This is just the duck's guts. And since the introduction of the X39, their turnover's gone from 20 million prior to X39 to $320 million in 3 years.
Wow. Okay.
That's business growth.
That is business growth.
Well, it's
absolutely.
Reason, Carl, think about this. Like, nobody else has got this product. He's got a 20-year patent on this worldwide, so as nobody else can come up with it.
Yeah.
Right? So the people that are out there running it as a business, they've got a standalone product, one product. They don't warehouse it. They've got no staff. Everything's done online. And you get these sorts of results where you literally change people's lives.
And it's a joy to be around it when you're around it, I can tell you.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. All right, next slide, please, mate.
Right.
All right. So let's look at what the X39 is doing, right? Now, if we activate our body stem cells naturally, away we go. We're not using anybody else's. Next one, please, mate. Next slide.
Move my mouse again. Can't be flicking things around like I am. There you go.
Now, this lady here, I'm not sure how the volume's going to be for this. If you can turn your volume up, you may need to turn your volume up for this lady. But she had lupus, fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, osteoporosis, thyroid issues, eye problems, and teeth problems. Right? BG
That's
more.
a list. That is a list.
That is a list. And she's 78 years of age. All right, let's have a listen to what she has to say, please, Carl.
She's here with me tonight. And she has had phenomenal success also with the patches. And I'm first going to today,
Got a little problem there by the sound of it. Hang on a minute. Let me. Sorry about that. Let me bring. Wow. Stop. Right. Sorry about that, folks. For some reason or other, you're not getting the sound off the PowerPoint. So I'm trying to figure out why, in fact, that would be. Let me just have a little quick look here at my audio. It says you should be getting it.
Huh.
All right, let me try this another way. Let me just see if I can. Let me see if I can find this another way. No, it's not going to let me find it like that. Sorry, Tim.
That's all right. We'll figure it out. Just put the slideshow back up as was, and rather than go full screen on it, because it's more important what she says than what she looks like.
I would agree. So let me just take that back to there. I'll bring her back up, leave us up, and see whether or not you guys can hear it this time.
Okay, next one.
Hit that. Oh, click. Yep.
Go back. Yep, that one.
Okay, play.
And she's here with me tonight. And she has had phenomenal success also with the patches. And I'm first going to just let BT share her life. What was life like before you found the patches? You found the patches for me, Charity, and introduced me to them. I was sickly, to put it mildly. I was diagnosed with lupus, fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, osteoporosis, and thyroid issues in my 40s, and I'm now 78. I've been on this journey. It's a year now, 1 year. And prior to that, I lived with pain, so I didn't really know how bad I was until the different things started changing. I put the patch on and felt differences in 4 hours. So I went, well, total pain to feeling like someone was rubbing my back and putting deep heat right down the spine. I lived with inflammation on every joint. My knees looked like watermelons, and that just melted away. And today I hardly have any inflammation, even in this Texas heat. So my knees are good. I was a candidate for knee replacements, and the doctor wanted to schedule me a year ago before we did the patches. I had done stem cells injections, and they didn't do anything. But the patches have made such a difference that I haven't even gone back to the surgeon to even consider knee replacement. Let me see. So I'm walking now. I can go to the gym. I'm in silver sneakers. I stretch. I do all of the things that they tell you to do. I can do. I also had damage to my eyes from the Western medicine for lupus. And I had dry eyes, dry mouth, dry nose, and the dryness had caused wrinkled retina. And so I went for my annual checkup, I'd say almost a year before I started the patches. And they noticed macular degeneration starting, and the wrinkled eye looked really bad. So they had me come back in 6 months. And so I was on the patches about 4 or 5 months at that time. There is no signs of macular degeneration. And the wrinkled retina had improved. And, you know, when you're in your 70s, these are things the doctors were shocked about. I also had my annual physical. And the doctor said, your blood is amazing. You're like a 50-year-old. Your organs are like a 50-year-old. Your heart is in perfect condition. You have great blood pressure, no odd sounds for my age. And he said, keep up the good work. So I've had improvement everywhere. But I also had lived with toxins. I had mold in my condo. I've been out of my condo for 1.5 years because of the mold everywhere. Well, it got into my teeth and also the dryness before. So compound. I lost all my teeth. So I'm just sipping my meals for 4 months until I get my permanent dentures, permanent implants in. But when I went back after they removed it 4 months ago, I just went back last month, and he said, my gosh, you have bone growing around the titanium. He said, we expected it to firm up and go into the bone, but you have new bone growth all around. He said, you are a perfect candidate, the perfect patient, because everything has gone right about it. So I'm a created new woman. Everything is working really well in my late 70s. So that's my testimony.
Well, and one other thing, BG, when you started your journey with the dentist, you had the markers for the, you had 8s and 9s, remember?
Oh, I forgot about that. Yes. When you go to the dentist and they see how your bone loss is and they take that little pick, well, my numbers were always 8s and 9s. And just before they did the surgery, it was 2. They had, wow. The bone growth was there. And then he was really shocked when he saw that the bone grew right around the titanium implants. So it was a surprise to him.
So BG has had some just phenomenal results, but she had a lot going on when she started that X39. And when I seen her 2 years ago, I was really concerned because she was in so much pain, and she had tried so many things again that I didn't know what was going to happen if we didn't get her help. So of course I had to share the X39 with her.
Wow.
That's awesome stuff, you know. I mean, good Lord. It's, again, I don't know what else we could possibly do for people that we know, people that we come across, than offer them good health.
Yeah, exactly. Life-changing health.
Yeah.
You know, freedom to move again. And you can see in her face how happy she is to be able to put on her silver sneakers and stretch like normal 78-year-olds. God help us.
Yeah, absolutely. Now,
Yeah.
so that takes care of the elderly section of our community and gives them a bit of hope. Let's go to the next one. Now, this guy's a bit different. His 16-year-old son has autism. And the prevalence of autism today is staggering, and the impact on families is bloody horrendous. So let's have a little listen to what he has to say.
Hello, my name is Peter. I'm doing a testimonial for the X39 patches. These patches pretty much saved my son, Luke. Luke is an autistic 16-year-old, nonverbal, with heavy-duty OCD, also has cystic acne, and was violent and lazy and not doing well in school. In August, I started putting the patches on him when he was going back to school. The first day I noticed something right away. And within, I would say, a week, his skin cleared up like 75%. His behavior, he calmed down, he became sweeter, nicer, more eye contact. And he also, what can I say? He loves puzzles. He would always go halfway through a puzzle, like the 300-piece puzzles, and stop and, put them away. Now he does like 3 or 4 a day when he gets home from school. He's even up to 1,000-piece puzzle that he took 3 days to do, but he completed it with about 5 breaks. He's calm in school. He's not violent anymore. He also is doing really well in school. The teacher is always giving him incredible reviews. I highly recommend, if you have a special needs boy, to at least try these on him. I only give them to him about 2 to 3 days a week now because they're a little strong for him. It gives him a little too much energy, and I don't want him bouncing off the walls. So I would definitely recommend it.
Isn't that interesting?
Absolutely interesting.
And the reason I've picked these videos, Carl, is that because you and I and a lot of the people we're dealing with, we're getting all these results off pain. But these are people who, well, all right, the First Lady had pain. She had a lot of other stuff going on. And with autism is a terrible thing. And now this lady, her husband has Alzheimer's.
Oh,
and so this pretty much covers the gamut of society, with pain from all sorts of things. Autism and Alzheimer's are probably the main things out there these days that are just so hard to cope with. So let's have a little look.
Alzheimer's is one of the greatest fears for me as I get older. I don't want that. There's 100 things I don't want, but I really don't want Alzheimer's. So, all right, let's have a listen and see what she has to say.
When I first was introduced to X39, I heard very early on about the clinical studies that had been done on cognition and memory. And I also saw a wonderful YouTube that, if you haven't seen, take a look. Put in Joan X39 memory YouTube, and it's a 1-month following of her from not having a patch to 30 days on the patch, and it's really inspiring. And I saw that these patches could really help with cognition. And my husband has advanced dementia. And I wrestled with whether to share the patches with him because he he can't do anything for himself, but his cognition is still there enough to cause some suffering. And I didn't want to help him increase his cognition to increase his suffering. So I had decided I wasn't going to share the patch with him. And then in May, he broke his hip and he was in the hospital, and his speech had gotten so garbled that he really couldn't communicate anything. And after 2 days, I just decided, what the heck, I'm going to put it on him. And I put a patch on the back of his neck. And I can't explain this. This doesn't make any logical sense. But I had only been able to understand about 10% of what he was saying. And then I put the patch on, and I could understand 50% of what he was saying immediately. And I thought to myself, okay, I might be making this up. I might be, I might just be making this up, but I don't care. I can understand 50% of what he's saying. The next morning I came into the hospital, and the nurse who was there overnight was the same nurse who had been there the first night he came in. And she came running over to me so excitedly saying, we had a conversation. Like, I didn't know he could have a conversation. She said, is it true that you met him through his ex-wife? And I said, yes. So I left the patches on him while he was in the hospital. And then when I moved him back to memory care, a little bit I didn't. And then I decided, you know what? When he used to be able to walk a lot, he used to be able to talk and connect with people. He's losing both of those things. He's lost the walking, really. And so I'm just going to put the patch on and at least let him be able to still have connection and communication with people as long as he can. And then 2 weeks ago, I went to visit him with my son and my grandson. They hadn't seen him for 1.5 years because of what's been going on this last year. And we got there, and uncharacteristically, my husband was not home. There was no light in his eyes. He didn't recognize any of us. This has not been my experience. And I was so discouraged that my son and grandson were going to have this experience. I know it's coming. I know it'll come one day, but I didn't want it to be now because he'd been very engaged with me every time I came to visit, which is frequently. And then a staff member came out and said, I've been meaning to call you. We ran out of patches.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. No, I didn't know if they really were doing anything or not, but then I knew. And I was like, okay, what do? I don't have them in the car because it was like a 95-degree day. I didn't want to keep them in the car. And then suddenly I heard this still small voice say, you've got one on the back of your neck. Take it off. So I took the patch off the back of my neck and I put it on him. And he was all bent over and could only look at the floor, and I put my head under and I'm looking up. The light came back into his eyes. He was there. Within about 10 minutes, he was sitting practically upright instead of all curled over. And we had a wonderful 2-hour connection. He made jokes. It was really wonderful and amazing. And I wanted to share that all with you.
Wow. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. I thought we heard of everything, but I think you owe all of us a tissue right here, right now. So make sure you give everyone a tissue. Yeah, I mean, Andy, I don't even know what questions to ask, but just to say, I mean, what a blessing to just, give him back some light, even at the end of this tunnel. And, he's probably experienced everything already in life, and just to be able to just, I guess, talk and see and just feel again, and just for that little time, and how powerful it is for just this patch, just to do something like this. I can't even, I'm lost for words, just like you.
Absolutely staggering.
Yeah, it is. And, it doesn't, I don't know what its limits are. I don't know that it has limits. I don't know.
Yeah.
We've only been using it for 4 months, and, we've got quite a few people that I've introduced. Some are actively wanting to get out there and, build the structure, make $1. Others are just happy to buy it and use it, and that's fine. I don't give a flying rip which way people go.
Yep, I'm the same.
But do you know what? I got a lady. She's got some issues with arthritis, and I put a patch on her. And when I say arthritis, she's had arthritis for a long time, and her hand is all sort of jammed up, and her elbows got big lumps on them, and she struggles, right? And put a patch on her, and within the hour, the pain had gone out of her neck, shoulders, elbows, and her wrist.
Wow.
And so the body is capable of doing amazing things, but we've just got to give it the right damn tool to be able to do the job. It's no good going to a carpenter and say, build me a house, but you can't have wood, steel, hammer, or a saw.
Well, it's also not much use going to a doctor these days, because they're not there to help you much either. They're there to, they might take the edge off for you, but they're, nobody's getting paid to cure cancer.
Painkillers mask the problem. It's just like treating your pain with alcohol. Yeah, you might get a few hours sleep, but tomorrow it's back again. And you got to do it again and again. Here, I am so fired up about the healing potential for everybody I can get to talk to. Now, I'm a bit cautious about, because of the platform that you have and I have and so many others have, about doing this. But at the end of the day, to hell with it. If we can help people, bloody hell, get out of my road. I'm going to help people. That's about it.
I was concerned about being slagged off for, trying to force something down people's throats or whatever. But at the end of the day, I've done my research. Since I saw you in Adelaide, I've done nothing but stick patches on people and get their reactions. And I've had 2 people that it hasn't worked on, and I've picked both of them when I gave the patches to them. The first was the personal trainer in Melbourne, which you actually met. And she has, lovely lady. She has some issues, but she is supremely fit. Supremely fit. Her body is.
The body's a temple.
A temple, yeah, exactly right. In fact, most of the jokes I send to her about veganism, vegetarianism. However, she has a bone-related issue, which I'm not going to share too much of, and I only had 1 patch to give her. I couldn't have expected too much to happen with that, so I sort of expected that she wasn't going to feel much there. The other one, interestingly, I put on someone who has had 2 hip replacements, a knee replacement, and is still suffering a great deal of pain in knee and hips. And I thought, well, if there is ever a person who, could do with this sort of benefit, it would be her. So knowing her background, I and ahed about actually offering the patch. Her background is health, working in the health industry, working in the administration, working in the bureaucracy of health, and believing everything medical. There are people in this world who believe that the only kind of help you can get is pharmacological help. Everything else is witchcraft or something similar.
Yes.
And I believe that was more her attitude going into this. So is good mental attitude. I mean, we're not going to say this is psychosomatic, because clearly it's not. We can see so much evidence from skeptics who put it on and had a reaction. But there are people who are just so tied up in what the authorities say is good for you and what the doctors say.
Carl, over the years, we've done a lot of different things with a lot of different people. And one of the things that I'm always aware of is that when you see people with various issues, doesn't matter what it is, they sometimes say they want to get rid of the issue or fix the issue or whatever, but then underneath they really don't, because, that issue, whatever it is, becomes part of their identity, and it's how they get their recognition. Now, we've got to understand something about recognition. Grown men will die for it, and that was proven in the last days of the World War before the peace treaty was signed. There was, I think, 11,000 men killed on the last day of the war, wanting to go home heroes with a medal. They went home in a wooden box, but they wanted the recognition, so they were prepared to do stupid shit and die for recognition. Little babies, they'll cry for it. So recognition is a really important part of the human psyche. And so when somebody's got this chronic issue, no matter what it is, when they first go to their family or friends and meet up with them this week or next week or whenever, the first question is, oh, and how are your hips? Oh, how is your neck? Oh, how is this? And then the conversation starts, and the conversation's all about the issue. And if they gave up that issue, if they got rid of that issue, they're not sure who they would actually be. And they don't know whether people would actually like them if they didn't have that issue. So they want to hold on to that recognition point. And so sometimes we can do this sort of stuff and it gets outweighed. I'm sorry, it just does.
Yep, I agree. A lot of people are asking about the thing in chat, saying, well, one person has said they've done a bit of research. It comes up somewhere. Someone has said, oh, it's a multi-level marketing scam kind of thing. But I can tell you, folks, it's no scam. Ask Carol. It works. Ask me, it works. All right. Nobody's paying me to tell you that it works. Okay. In fact, I'm buying the bloody patches to tell you that they work, and I'm giving them to you for nothing.
That's right. So here's the interesting thing, Carl. Multi-level, interesting concept. One of the earlier slides, it showed that the company will pay 60% of its profit back to the affiliates who market the product for them.
Yeah.
Now, question. If this was marketed through your local chemist, right? Firstly, do you think the chemist would market it for free, or would the chemist want some payment for it? Well, the chemist would want some payment for it. Well, my question is that you can either set up an affiliate marketing program and share in that 60% profit and keep the money going around in the community, or you can make Priceline chemists richer, which I don't know when the last time Priceline ever did anything nice for you, or any other chemist chain for that matter. However, if there is a marketing system available where ordinary, everyday, you and me can go out and potentially, if we wanted to, make a few quid, would we then spend our money in our local community on the money we made? I'm damn sure we would. And so I don't have a problem with networking or multi-level or whatever you want to call it, as long as it's done ethically and the product is ethical. And so, in doing that, we have the company's ethical. They're paying 60% bonus rather than give it to the multinationals. And their product is world-leading, staggering, and you and I have got the potential to use it, market it, do whatever we like with it, or not even touch it. It's entirely up to everybody. It's their own single choice. And either way, I'm okay with that.
Yep, me too. In fact, folks, the link that I keep posting, and I'll put it up in the chat again now, you can see it running across the bottom of the screen. Now, that link, if you choose to enroll or buy through that link, there will be a small commission that comes to Voice of Freedom and the Freedom Broadcasting Network. It will go straight into the fuel tank of the bus.
That thirsty bloody tank, mate.
Yeah, well, and I'll tell you, folks, to fill up that thing, depending on whereabouts you are, it's a 250-litre tank. Today, petrol where I am was $2.25 a litre. You figure out what that's going to cost me to fill up. So that's where the money will go. We're not using it to fluff anybody's pockets. And in fact, the money will go back into purchasing more of them so that I can hand them out to the people who want to try them before they buy. Because I feel strongly that if you are in chronic pain, I want to help you. Now, I can't buy them for you every month, but what I can do is save you the cost that first time just to see if they work for you. And I'm prepared to give you a couple while I've still got a few floating around to do that. So just email me, carl@vofhq.com. I'll put you on the list. Tim has been very, very magnanimous, and he's helped me out getting some more patches because I got inundated with people who wanted to try it. So once the mail catches up to us, I'll have some more, and I will be able to fulfill the requests of those people who've emailed me already. So if you are interested in trying it for free, and if it works for you, God, I pray it does, then great. It's up to you then to decide whether or not you want to buy it and just buy it as a monthly thing for you, or whether or not you want to try and turn it into a business. Not my goal, but it might be yours. I don't care. As long as it helps you, that's all I want. I want it to help you. And if it puts a few extra litres in the petrol tank, then I'm grateful that you would help us in that way. Thank you.
Yep.
Should I go to the next slide?
Yep, go to the next slide, please, Carl.
All right, let's click on that one.
So for the stem cell industry, stem cell therapy is becoming far more popular. They realise the importance of the stem cells, and the stem cell industry, now that's not just LifeWave, that's the stem cell industry. That's injecting stem cells, all sorts of stuff. They reckon it's going to hit a $300 billion mark in the next 5 years. Why? Because it's really simple. Human stem cells can attach themselves and fix every single part of the human body, from a sliced open finger to a bad heart to crooked lungs to bad joints. It can do it all. It can interact with the brain. It does it all. And this is why it will become such a massive, massive industry. And in doing this, like I said, most people are just going to want to buy the stuff for themselves, but there will be a few out there that will want to make a dollar. Next slide, please, Carl.
Oh, hit that button.
Yep. There, now there's the compensation. You build two teams. I'm not going to go through that. Go on. That shouldn't be there. Go to the next slide. Okay. If you choose to purchase the products, you can register with the bronze, the silver, or the gold, or the platinum, or the diamond. Now, yeah, if you've got a gazillion dollars, register with the diamond program. But
yeah,
for us mere mortals, it's either the bronze pack, which is 1 month's supply, or Corinne and I registered with the silver pack, because a pack for Corinne, a pack for me, and a spare pack to share out or give whatever. So what happened with the spare pack is I put a patch on my friend's wife's neck. She had bad back pain and neck pain. And 2 hours later, they come over and go, yep, this is awesome. We need a pack of this stuff. So he bought that pack off me. So I didn't have it for very long, the spare pack. And now keep in mind, these are US dollar prices. They are right. US dollar prices, right? And Carl, what you were talking about, if people register and through the Voice of Freedom, if they register with the bronze, Voice of Freedom can put $15 worth of fuel in its tank. If they register with a silver, Voice of Freedom can put $50 worth of fuel. That's the product introductory bonus. So that's basically how it'll work in the beginning. So therefore, that's, I guess, the way to say thank you to Voice of Freedom for making this known to you, so as that you can get the relief you get. I don't know. Look at it any way you like. But they're the main two packs that people register with, and yeah, and it's and that link will take you directly to that page. And so, thank you for connecting with us. You're all welcome to do whichever it is you choose to do. Go any way you want to go, and our job is just to pass the information on. Your job is to do whatever it is you think is right, and on all that, go and just go and research the socks out of it until you're satisfied that neither Carl nor I are full of shit.
Yep. I mean, and I'm not saying I'm not partially full of shit. I mean, there's.
Oh no, there's a bit of that going on, but not here. There's not tonight. Like I can tell bullshit stories all day, but I'm not doing that here because I know what it's done for me. I know what it's done for my friends, and I'm sorry. Long before all this rubbish broke out 3 years ago, I had a different reputation to uphold in business around Australia, and in fact in countries overseas, and I would not jeopardise that for $50 worth of commission.
No, and I wouldn't jeopardise my relationship with my viewers for any of them. So I want this to work for you. If it works for you, then great. It's a cup of coffee a day. If you can afford that, wonderful. I hope it works for you, and I hope you live a blessed life. If you can't afford that, then work with me. We'll find a way. We've just got to get there.
Now, the other thing, Carl, is that they've got a shipping centre in Sydney. So when you order, the product is shipped out of Sydney. It doesn't have to come from overseas.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, great.
Melbourne.
Okay.
Melbourne. The other one was there. Melbourne, not Sydney. My mistake.
I want to clarify, because we're talking stem cells, I want to clarify. This is not stem cell therapy. Stem cell therapy is aborted baby fetuses being injected into your blood. All right?
Correct. Yep.
There are no stem cells in these patches. Okay?
Absolutely
None. They are a light activation patch. That's probably why they work better during the day than at night, now that I think about it.
Well, there you go. So
a light activation patch that activates the copper peptides in your own blood, which stimulates your own stem cells.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
So do not think that you're getting some dead baby's stem cells somehow leaching through the patch into the back of your neck. That's not how it works.
No, and to be quite frank, Carl, there is no way known on God's green earth while I draw breath would I ever participate in any aspect of that.
No.
Absolutely.
I find at the moment, I've heard recently they're using stem cell therapy, the injections, on hardcore long-term drug users to try and help them get over their drug addictions. Now, does it work? I don't know. The only person I know that's had it done hasn't had it done long enough to see much of a difference, I don't think. So we'll wait and watch over the next 12 months or so and see what comes out of that. But you've got to be pretty committed to go and get stem cell therapy. And I, for one, would never, ever have that. Christ, I won't go to the bloody... If ever I need surgery, I'm thinking about going and getting my own blood taken and stored somewhere, because I don't want blood coming from the blood bank in me. Right? No. I don't want anybody else's blood in me.
There was some of our friends when we travel overseas, what they do is they would go and have their blood drawn, and over a couple of weeks they'd take 2 litres of blood, and they had a special refrigerated suitcase basically that they would carry their own blood in case there was an accident, and they could get a blood transfusion from their own blood rather than rely on blood from God knows where.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. And apparently, according to Sunflower in the chat, $2,000 to $3,000 a month on stem cell therapy. That's the cost of it. So that's significantly more than a cup of coffee a day.
Yeah, absolutely. So what other questions?
Mudgy Dog Show wants to know, are they any good for animals? Yes.
Absolutely. Dogs, horses, cats. There's a video on one of the, I think it's on that email that I sent you, Carl, originally.
Yeah, see if I can dig that up.
There's a horse, there's a bloke there rubbing his hand down over the back of the horse, and when he gets to the hip of the horse, you can see the horse flinch, and then he came back down around the flank of the horse, and the horse flinched again. So he had 2 spots. So he put a patch on each of those spots, waited a couple of minutes, and then just ran his hand over it again, and there was no flinching at all from the horse. Now, the horse wouldn't know. he can't see what you put on him. He's just, he doesn't know anything. He's just felt that point there, you know, and it is staggering. And then there's another one where a lady had organised, her dog was so decrepit and in such pain that they'd made an appointment with the vet a few weeks in advance to have the poor animal put down. They didn't want to do it, but they couldn't bear to see their pet in pain. So what she started doing was, at the end of the day, when she'd take her patch off, she'd go and stick it on the dog. And this went on and on and on until the day they had to go to the vet, and the dog jumped up in the car. Didn't have to be lifted. He jumped up in the car. They got to the vet, and they told the vet what was going on, and the vet inspected the dog, gave him a bit of a physical, checked him over, and he said, I will not euthanize this dog. He's perfectly healthy. He's not in pain. Take him home.
Wow.
So, yeah. Yep. It's amazing. So, yeah, it's incredible.
That's, great news. Right. So I've posted in the chat there, folks, the video, which I found absolutely amazing. This is to do with horses. But if you, I've heard anecdotal evidence from others about throwing the patch into the dog's bed, the old dog's bed, leaving it in there, and just leaving all of them in there, all your old patches, leave them in there. The dog just lies down in the bed, or the cat lies down in the bed, or whatever. And there is some fairly significant reactions. In fact, I was only talking to somebody today who has a 13-year-old dog that's acting like a 2-year-old.
Good Lord.
Almost making a puppy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, mate, what other questions do we have that I can help with?
Let me have a bit of a look here. I don't know that we had a few trolls in earlier. Don't think there's too much there that I've got to. Oh, yeah, okay. CRPS. Will this sort of stuff work for CRPS, which I think is, as she states here, what most painful conditions known to men. I can't think of what it actually stands for now.
Okay.
But CPRS is oh God.
Well,
hang on a minute. Maybe I'll Google it and that'll give me a better idea.
Yeah. Well, anything I think that's pain related, it seems to work. You know, I haven't found anybody yet that I've put the patches on that's had any sort of pain that it hasn't got a response.
Complex regional pain syndrome. Overview. Chronic arm, leg, or leg pain developing after injury, surgery, stroke, or heart attack. The exact cause of complex regional pain syndrome isn't well understood, but may involve abnormal inflammation or nerve dysfunction. Complex regional pain is characterized by pain that is greater than would be expected from the injury that caused it. Treatment usually consists of medication, always, heat or cold therapy, physiotherapy, and biofeedback.
Well,
I'd say
give it a run.
Yep.
You know,
absolutely.
You've probably tried everything else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But do your own research, folks. What else can I send you out of there? There's another video you might want to watch if you want to go and do a bit of research that Tim, you put in my email. I'll just grab that. I think that's the overview of the X39 patch. So let me paste that up. That's in the chat now too. Will it help CFS or help? Yes, I think it would. It has relieved a lot of people's chest issues that I've spoken to. They find themselves, able to breathe better. It's like one fella said to me, "It's like my throat has been opened up again." So yeah, there are those sorts of things. So that other link that I've just posted up there, that is to an overview, if you like, of the X39 patches. And the horse one I posted up just prior to that, I will do this again. And I'll put the headline in it so you know what you're looking at. So I'll post that one up So if you want to look and see how it works for horses and extrapolate that to your dog, your cat, your guinea pig, your bunny rabbit, your emu, your kangaroo, your koala, your whatever you've got. And I think, hopefully you'll see results. Now, I don't claim that everybody's going to get results out of this. All right. I can't claim that. Neither can you, Tim.
Nope, not at all.
But all I can give you is a direction to try.
Yeah. And look, people have got to make their own decisions. I mean, as much as we've got great responses, everybody's different. Everybody, as in physical body, is working different. And in all of that, Carl, people are, I guess, when they go to the doctor and they get a bad reaction, the doctor goes, "Oh, sorry, we'll try a different medication." Well, it didn't matter that they buggered you up for a start and they want to try a different medication. If you try this and it doesn't work, it doesn't muck you up in the process.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So
you don't have to come off the medication you are currently on to try it.
Hell no. No, not at all. No.
And you've got your baseline on your current medication. You know how good you feel when you wake up in the morning. So you've got a baseline on that. What you might want to do further down the track, if you're finding that it is working for you, and do what Carol's doing, and that's weaning yourself, although she was doing it before we came to the patch, weaning herself off the opioids because she hates the feeling of them, hated the thing. She'd been on them for some time, like years.
Years.
And so she's doing great with it.
I've got a lady who's she's been on blood pressure tablets, right? And was sort of coming off them before this. But once she started on the patches, she hasn't taken any blood pressure medication. She's got a blood pressure machine. Her blood pressure's fine. But she monitored that herself. And she's as good as gold. So each person is different. You've got to take responsibility for your own health. And, everybody is responsible for the choices they make, the decisions they make. We can either stay silent, we can talk, we can give patches away, we can not say anything, and the people who get a result, you can keep that to yourself. You don't have to brag it to the world. You can just tick along buying the stuff. Other people are going to want to shout from the rooftop what's going on. And that's individual. That's every one of us has our own way of doing this. And the other side of it is that if you don't get a result, that's fine. All I'd probably say is that if somebody asks you how it went, you can just say, well, it didn't seem to work for me. I don't know whether I didn't try it long enough or whatever. But the overwhelming majority of people are just, when they get a result, they just can't shut up, Carl. They've got to go and tell someone. Yeah,
I agree. And I think that's because for the first time they can get around, smile, move, animate, and show people, and the joy inside them just comes. I mean, God, just look back at Carol. She was amazed, and the joy that was coming from her.
Yeah, it is. It's so good. It really is. And look, whatever happens out of here tonight, I take no responsibility for it. No, what I'm saying is, look, whatever comes out of tonight, I'm happy to support people, as no doubt you are, any way we possibly can, with knowledge, information, directions on what to do, how to do it, where to go to find what. The X39 freedom.net, I think, is a good website for people. They can get a lot of information out of that, and they can do what they like with it. And don't forget, you've got friends and relatives overseas. Talk to them. Let them just don't keep it to yourself. If you get a result, for God's sake, share it with people, because everybody's hurting one way or another. They really are, and we all need a bit of backup.
Yep, we do. And if we can help people like Kate, who's just gone off and purchased some, she said, but Kate's been bedbound all day. Now here's the kicker: she's 39 years old.
Oh God!
How sad is that?
So Kate, the key to this is that when you get your patch, put it on, and I would leave the first one on for 24 hours. Give yourself a break of 12 and then go 12 hours, 12 hours, 12 hours. And pay attention to not just the big things, but pay attention to the little things that change as you go along, because it's sometimes those little things. Like one of the guys was saying, oh, yeah, nothing much has sort of happened, but, every morning when I wake up, I no longer have all this acid in my tummy panicking about the day. I wake up and I feel good. And it's a little thing, right? But it turns out he can get up every morning now and go to work without anxiety. How good's that?
You said, it goes to work on what it needs to, what is the most urgent issue in the body first. So while you might be experiencing pain in your arm, that may not be the most urgent issue in your body.
No, that's right. Yeah, for him it was the gastric reflux.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Tim, thank you very much for sharing them with me, and thank you for coming and sharing your knowledge of them with the audience. And I hope we've been genuine enough to convince people to just give it a try. And as it doesn't cost you anything except an email to give it a try, then email me, carl@vofhq.com. I don't want you spending your money if it's not going to work for you. All right?
Yeah.
I'm prepared to spend my money and Tim's money to see if it works for you. I didn't ask Tim to spend his money, but I'm going to. So
that'll work.
That's just how it is. If it doesn't work for you, then look, no harm, no foul. Go off and do what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if it does work for you, God, I hope it helps you and improves your life in ways that you thought were lost to you. So that's my biggest, greatest hope for the whole thing. So
you know, one of the things for me, Carl, is I love my veggie garden, right? And a couple of years ago, I had this magnificent veggie garden. I mean, it was staggering. And the fruit and veggies that I was pulling out of that garden was just magnificent. Like I was pulling tomatoes that the whole slice of tomato would cover my whole hand. And with the hip pain, I couldn't do much in the garden, and it would sadden me no end to sit on the back step and look down my garden and see it looking like a bloody third-rate, outfit down there. That's the tomatoes are gone wild and nothing's growing properly and the beds are all out of shape. And now, mate, I'm back in the garden.
Yes. Bloody awesome, mate. Bloody awesome. Now,
love it.
Redneck Rumbler, I just want to point out to you, I don't know whether or not you're really stupid or you're just trying to be a smart ass, but anybody can have a grand piano in the background, my friend. Anybody. Yep,
all absolutely.
Is a virtual green screen. Tim, that is not your house behind you, is it?
No, Carl, it is not. This is a house I would like to have.
Yeah, me too. And grand piano.
Yeah. And but I've got on my Zoom channel, I've got probably 50 different backgrounds, from outdoors to indoors to upstairs and downstairs. And I just like chopping and changing it around. I'm not, because you can see by the structure of the picture, my head fades in and out of it a bit. You can always tell that's a green screen. I'm not trying to tell people, wow, look at me, I'm living like a bloody king. I live in an ordinary 4-bedroom home on 800 square metre block, lounge room, dining room, kitchen, nothing flash. It's been here for 40 years. It's home to me. It's home to my kids and it's home to my grandkids. It's worn and well worn and worn well. So it's home.
Yep. So, yes, Redneck Rumbler, your comments are not useful, to say the least. It just goes to show an area of mentality that you are either stuck on or lack, depending on which way you view it.
Well, maybe he's not aware of the technology.
Oh, I think he's very aware of the technology. I think we've had this conversation before, haven't we, Redneck? But anyway, may not have been you, but I remember I've had this conversation before with someone. And I think it was to do with your background, funnily enough.
Oh, Mate, I'll change. Next time I'm on, I'll have a different background for you.
Yeah,
okay?
go and sit out. Go and take a picture of the tip or something, will you? And then just put that up.
Yeah.
So,
Mate, I've been on some Zooms where people sitting in their homes or in their shed doing whatever they're doing, and I'm thinking, for God's sake, put a curtain up, will you? You've got bloody crap everywhere, you know. So you can't please everybody all the time. It just is what it is, and yeah. So
all good stuff. Tim, thank you very much. I'll let you go and look after Corinne. I know it is nighttime. Feeding is required, and
feeding is required. Oh, and Carl, lamb loin chops, homegrown mashed potatoes with butter and cream.
I missed out on that when I was getting my hydrogen fitted because I had to leave.
Yes, you did. You could have had that. Yep. Just thought I'd mention it.
Thankfully, I've been able to cuddle Corinne many times since, and she has promised that she will cook for me again if I come to Adelaide. So
absolutely. All good. All right. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Talk to you soon. So, we'll have Tim back again for another chat in the not too distant future. As you know, he's got a few things on his table that he's working on. The hydrogen system being one of them, and he does have an announcement that he said he's going to share with us on that in the not too distant future. Of course, if you are interested in getting a hydrogen system for your vehicle, doesn't really matter what fuel you're running, Tim's the man to talk to. And if you email h2@vofhq.com, that'll go straight to Tim, and he'll let you know about the cost. I think it's $3,400, which is a big discount for, well, not a big discount because he's not making a huge amount of money out of it at full freight odds, but it is a discount where he makes practically nothing out of it for Voice of Freedom followers who want to get this thing fitted. So far, I think there've been over a dozen of you who've taken up this offer, and we should point out because I've had a few brain farts around what we could do with this hydrogen generation system, and one of them was about using it on other generators, particularly camping style generators where people have got to take jerry cans and all that sort of shit out. Well, if you could extend your fuel run out of your little Jenny, how good would that be? But turns out the costs, the actual machining and material costs involved in this are quite are where the cost is at the end of the day. Those little bottles that are used to hold your demineralized water and the electrolysis unit, they're specially built. The electronics unit that controls the whole thing is specially built. Tim doesn't build on any of that. Tim does all the mathematics and all that sort of stuff that programs it and does the installations, and of course came up with a design for everything. But there is a fair cost in getting the electronic box, the control box made, and then that gets sent back to him and he programs it. And then the bottles and whatnot, I think, are made in Adelaide. The electronics, I think, are made in Melbourne. So, yeah, it's a amazing system. And the final fuel figures on the run back up from, where did I fill up? Port Macquarie, 28, just under 28, 27.6 something litres per 100 Ks. Blown away by that. Considering we started at 41. So I've gone from 41 litres per 100 Ks on petrol to 27. That's how inefficient that V10 Ford motor is. Don't start. I know it's a Ford. Plenty of good Fords on the road. Plenty of them. Got the occasional dickhead driving them, though.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's ride!